Hi everyone, I'm Michelle. Welcome back to my channel. This week I wanted to finish something I started a few weeks ago, and that is I wanted to make a video to show you how I create a barely there beachy wave kind of wave to a heat-friendly synthetic wig. And I am using, this is Well Played by Raquel Welch in dark chocolate. I did trim her a little bit. She was a little bit longer and getting a little tangly towards the end, so I did trim her a little bit. And before we start, I wanted to ask if you wouldn't mind subscribing here or down below, and let's get started. Okay, so I did a bit of research, and Raquel Welch recommends that you use heat tools not to exceed 350 degrees on their true to life heat-friendly synthetic fibers, which is what Well Played has. So today I'll be using this Conair curling iron, and it is 1.5 inches. And unfortunately, it doesn't indicate exactly what setting would bring it to 350 degrees. So I'm using it on the 15. It ranges between 1 and 30, and then it has a turbo function that brings it up even a little higher, which of course I won't use. So I'll use it at the 15, and that should work. That's kind of a medium setting there. So we'll get started. Now, first, I recommend you spray a light mist of a thermal heat spray protectant for the heat-friendly synthetic fibers. And here I have the John Renau. You can see that Protect. It's the Heat Treat Thermal Spray. And we'll just do a light mist on the areas that we're going to be curling. So kind of about starting here to about down here, because we're going to be leaving the ends out. So we'll just go ahead and apply all over a light mist of that. And then we can work that in. And next, so we're just going to go ahead and start curling. And I do want to use a claw clip and create some sections. Although for this barely there wave, I just want to explain, this is really just to add a little bit of a wave and volume. It's not at all to create a fully curled style. So you really don't even need to do the bottom layer. You can just kind of do the 2 upper layers of the fibers and really just add a little bit of bend. So we'll see how this goes. First, I'll start on the right side and we'll section this out. Just remove the upper portion and clip that back. All right. Now please be careful with heat tools, of course. You can absolutely burn yourself with these, so keep the fingers and any other skin away from the curling iron. So I'm just taking a small section, and they say their recommendations on the Hair You Wear website says to hold it for 10 seconds. So we're just going to do maybe 1.5 turns, and let's go 1,000 to 1,000. Okay, and I'm going to let it go. And now I prefer this method. They actually recommend pinning the wave to the wig and then leaving it in place to cool, because with these heat-friendly synthetic fibers, it's not like human hair where you can just curl it and then it will stay. You actually need to retain that shape until it cools for the memory to set, for this style to set. So I'm just holding it in place here, especially that upper portion of the curl, for it to cool so that we get that pretty little bend that I'm trying to create. It's a little bit time consuming, but given the fact that this will last even if you wash it or in the rain, I think it's worth the investment if you're interested in a beachy loose wave kind of style that is exactly the way you like it. All right, I think that has cooled. And now you can see we just have a pretty little wave. Not too much. So we'll just keep going all the way around and just sectioning off small sections. All right, so now we have some wave in that lower layer. So we'll work on the more important upper layer. And I just want to point out, I'm not sure I did before, that I am leaving the ends out. For this kind of a barely there wave, the style is really to have more straight ends and then just some waves sort of in the middle of the fibers. So maybe we'll start at the back. And now you can, this is purely your preference, but you could curl the fibers, you know, away from the face and alternate, and then curl it towards the face. See, I'm leaving the ends out. And then of course in the front, you'll want to curl it away from the face because you don't want to create a face flopper. Now with this front piece, as I mentioned before, we absolutely want to go away from the face. I'm almost recreating the curl after it comes out of the curling iron to hold it in place while those fibers are warm. And I really prefer doing this over pinning it because I did try that previously and it just created curls in an unexpected pattern that I didn't think were very pretty and needed a lot of correcting with a flat iron. So I would rather spend the time from the get-go and just be careful and meticulous and really create the style as you go. All right. So you can see we have quite a difference already. We have this side with some gentle waves and volume, and this side is pretty darn stick straight. So both are a pretty look, but I think we'll definitely keep going with that method and do this on the left side, and then I will put her on the blockhead to do the back of the wig. All right, now we'll move to the top layer on the left side. And I like to go from the back forward here. All right. And leave the ends out. Don't turn off your curling iron in the middle of it. I do find, by the way, that I'm leaving the curling iron on there for more than 10 seconds, especially if you take a thicker section. I feel that in order for all of the fibers to thoroughly get warmed through, it needs to be in there a little more than 10 seconds as they recommended. Now, you always want to spend a little more time as you get towards the front because that's really where you're going to see this style the most. So maybe make the sections a little bit smaller and really make sure you've got that curl exactly the way you want it. Like I said, on the underside, but then also in the back, you really don't need to do as much. So now here, the second to last layer I'm doing going forward, and then the last layer, as we said, will be curled away from the face. All right, and now we have our final piece. We'll go away from the face, just like on the other side. Now, if the two sides are not exactly the same or symmetrical, that is not a big deal. I think this is meant to be a very relaxed, sort of messy style. All right. I think that is looking awfully cute. Okay, so now that we kind of have the look that we like in the front and on the sides, I'll go ahead and pop her on a blockhead and let's work on the back. Okay, so here we are. I did notice when I took her off or right before that I didn't like the ends here on the very front pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and just add another little curl there to that end. And just really go all the way. Hold that there. I'm not recurling that whole section, just the very tip in the front. Yeah, that's better. So we'll do the same with this little piece. Make sure you go in the same direction as you did before, of course. You see that? Okay. And then I'm holding the curl, careful not to touch the barrel, but so that it's taut, so that really that whole section is in contact with the curling iron. All right, I think that's good. Now you can see we've got the curls going, or the waves I should say, on both sides, and the back is still stick straight. So that's what we're going to work on next. And I hope you can see as I do this. And I'm really just going to do the top layer back here. Again, with this wavy style, I think you can leave a layer underneath that's straight, because you're not trying to, you don't want to change the length too much of the wig either. So I'm just going to take a section, leave the ends out, and curl. All right, we're on the last one here. And then we'll finger comb and see if we like the result. All right, I think she is nice and wavy all around now, you can see. So I think we can always touch her up, of course. If you don't like the ends being this straight, you know, you could curl it all the way to the end of the fibers. I'm just going for this look that I've seen a lot of pictures of and video of. It's this barely there wavy style that I think is pretty fun. So next, let's just comb her out, and I'll put her back on, and we'll see if we want to do any more tweaking. So she's nice and cool all over now. So we'll just gently separate these waves out. And these heat-friendly synthetic styles really do so well with the heat. They really need heat in order to stay kind of fresh and soft and smooth like they were right out of the box. They're really designed for heat to be used on them. Even if you're refreshing them, they suggest, you know, taking a flat iron and running it through to the ends and making those fibers smooth again. So as long as you don't overdo the heat, it's actually beneficial for the fibers. All right, so you can see we just have a nice wavy style there, and I'm excited to try her on. All right, so here she is back on my head, and I am liking this. I think this is very pretty. There's just one more thing I would like to do to tweak it just a little bit more. I'm noticing these under layers here, the bottom layer that we didn't curl, especially in the front, are just looking very straight. So I'm going to just add a couple of curls here to these layers in the front. I don't think it's necessary in the back, but just here we'll do a little bend closer to the ends of the fiber, you see, just so that we have a little more uniformity and not waves like you do here and then straight all the way. I think it'll blend a little better that way. That's one of the reasons why I think some of this curling you really have to do with a wig on your head, because it just, you don't know what it's going to look like when you put it on, when it's on a mannequin head. It just looks different. The shape of the head is different than the shape of your head, and it's just easier to see what you're doing when you're wearing it. I really just recreate that curl a little bit once it comes out of the curling iron to hold it in place. All right, so that's it. Now we have those waves done. I'm going to just make sure that is thoroughly cooled. We'll do a finger comb and I'll show you the results all around. All right, here she is from the right. And the back. And the left. Wonderful that we can have these heat-friendly synthetic wigs and create whatever style we want to our heart's content. We can style these until we achieve what we want to have. And now this is a wig that no one else has this exact style. So that is the beauty of this. All right, next I'll give you my final thoughts on this entire process. Okay, final thoughts. I'm just delighted with how this turned out. I think these true-to-life, heat-friendly synthetic fibers are so much fun, and it's so great to be able to style a wig and completely make it your own. Really add whatever kind of body or curl or wave you're interested in, and there are so many different kinds of wave styles that you can create. I did a little research and I was amazed. So I think it's a wonderful option to have, and even though the process is a little bit time consuming, certainly more so than it would be to curl human hair, once the style has been applied, those curls will stay in place, those waves will stay in place until heat is applied again. So I think that makes it worthwhile, especially if you plan on keeping these beachy, undone, sort of barely there waves. And I definitely will try this again in the future with other wigs, just for fun. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it will inspire you maybe to try something new with an old wig or with a new wig. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.